in Thai, it means chicken. So I'm going to be making this with chicken, as the name implies. However, you could use other things. You can make a Tom Yum Gai, for example, which would be the same soup, but made with prawns. So whatever protein you want to use, you can use some tofu, whatever you want to do. You don't have to use chicken. The recipe will still be the same. And it's one of the most popular soups at Thai restaurants and takeaways. So it's a good one to know how to do because it's really, really easy. I'm going to be doing this today with 2 pans. I would normally just use 1 pan, but because I'm doing it live, I didn't want to have you have to sit there and watch something simmer for 10 minutes without really doing anything, because it's really that simple. There's not much to do. Why don't we just go right over to the pan right now. So over here, I've got a liter of chicken stock, which I made. You could also use just water, because we're going to be flavoring this stock with some aromatic ingredients. And I'm going to go ahead and start that now. I've got some lemongrass, which I smashed, and also some garlic, about three cloves of garlic. I'm going to put that in that simmering sauce. I've got some galangal, which we just cut into very thin pieces. And obviously, you don't eat these. You don't eat the galangal. You can eat the garlic, but the lemongrass and the galangal, you just they're just there. They'll kind of float at the top, and you just put them to the side of your plate. And here I've got some lime leaves, which I'm going to go ahead and add those as well. And we're just going to let that simmer over there for about 10 minutes while I start this pan off. And I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons of oil to that. And then I've got about 2 shallots right there. Just thinly sliced shallots, which I'm going to cook for a couple of minutes. That's all we need to do. Just to soften them a bit. So like I said, this is a hot and sour soup. And the heat comes from chili jam, which is homemade chili jam, which I've made, and also chili oil, and also some of these chili peppers. So that's where the heat comes from, and it's a sour soup too, so we're going to be using some lime juice. We're going to be putting some of this tamarind paste in there as well. And a lot of people add palm sugar to their Tom Yum Gai soups to give it kind of a sweet flavor as well. I don't do that. I do add it in the book. It is listed as an ingredient. I prefer it not to be that sweet, and I find that it's just sweet enough with the tomatoes and everything. But obviously, the instructions are there in the book, should you wish to add a little bit of sweetness to yours. Okay, so with this over here bubbling away really nicely, and with the shallots quite soft now, I'm going to give those a little bit more of a stir. Just kind of let it cook for about a half minute longer. I'm going to go ahead and add this stock to this pan, and we're just going to let that simmer for a further 5 minutes or so. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the soup while that's simmering. So let's go ahead and take this. We're going to put that right in there like that. Just pour it right in. There we are. So that's just going to sit there and bubble away. And all of those aromatic ingredients are going to go, and they're just going to impart their flavor into the broth. So like I said, you could just, I'm using homemade Thai chicken stock. You could just use water, because a lot of restaurants will just use water, and they'll just rely on the flavor of the chicken that we're adding to it, and all the other ingredients as well, to make the stock, the actual stock for the soup. So we can go back over to the other camera, Caroline. I'll tell you a little bit about what we've got to go in this. So like I said, I got the tamarind, and I got a little bit of lime juice, and that's going to give it a sour flavor. With Thai food, it's so important that you're trying things as you go. So you want to really, be testing it right about the time that you're going to be serving it, taste it. You know, if it needs a little bit more of a sour flavor, add a little bit more tamarind paste or a little bit more lime juice, just to give it that nice hit of sourness. Sweetness, like I said, is usually palm sugar. You could use honey or regular sugar as well if you want to add it, make it a little bit more sweet. Spiciness, I'm using this homemade. This is a little bit of a mix of two things. This is a mix of homemade chili jam and homemade chili oil. And both of those are available at Thai shops and Chinese shops. You can use Chinese brands as well. Thai's better, but you don't have to make your own. It's in the book if you want to. But that's going to give it a nice spiciness along with the chilies. Then we got some, as far as vegetables go, I mean, you can add a lot of different things. It's whatever you feel like doing. You can add carrots, you know, coring the carrots really nice and thin, add those to it. I'm adding some snap peas, a little bit of bell pepper, some sprouts. Got some mushrooms here as well, and also some tomatoes. So really, it's up to you what you add to this. You know, you might want to have some. A lot of times, you'll see like bamboo shoots or something like that in Thai food, and that's really with all these recipes in the book. It's down to you what you want to, what you have on hand, what's fresh, what you want to put in there.
Someone's asking why you can't order, why they can't pre-order the Thai book on Kindle in the US.
I'm not sure when it's going to be available in the US, but it should be, I'm hoping it's going to be available very soon. I don't have a date for that yet, but with any luck, it's going to be like, I think it's just going to be about a month after it's available here. That's what I'm hoping anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add, this is some chicken here, and I didn't weigh it out. We need about 250 grams. That looks like a little bit more, but I'm hungry, so I'm going to put it all in. And we really just want to cook that through, and that's not going to take very long. That's going to take about 5 minutes. So while that's cooking through, I'm going to go ahead and add the tamarind paste. It's about a tablespoon of tamarind paste. And that's all the sourness I'm going to add at this stage, because I'll try it right before it's finished and see if it needs any more sourness. And I've got the limes as a backup if that's what I want to do. So as you can see, I've cut the chicken into quite small pieces because it's a soup. And although this is a soup, you could serve this with rice or, let's heat that up a little bit more, with rice, and it's almost a curry in it as well. I mean, you put a nice bit of rice in a bowl and put this around it, and it'd be very nice. But I do like it as a soup. It's a nice starter course when you're making a Thai meal.
While you're waiting for that chicken to cook, Charlotte's asking, what made you do a Thai book?
Thai is, I'll go back over to the other camera now. Thai food for me was, when I grew up, there were two things I cooked. That was Thai food and Mexican food. Because where I grew up in California, there was a lot of, Thai food was already very popular. Unlike the rest of the United States where you just couldn't get the ingredients. In California, we had a large expat population of Thai people that brought their restaurants with them. And so I was able to get the ingredients that I needed to cook. And that was the same with Mexican food too. So long before I ever tried Indian food, which was back in, I think, 92 when I moved over here, 93, I was cooking Thai food. So this is something that's kind of like going back to my roots a bit, which has been part of the fun of writing this book. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these chilies. Now, be careful with this because if you don't like it really spicy, you probably don't want to add as many as I did because I've got the seeds in there and everything, but I do like it spicy. So I've got about 3 long green bird's eye chilies, and the great thing about cooking for yourself is you don't have to follow the recipe exactly. So if you think that's going to be too spicy, only add 1 or don't even put them in at all. You can always add them later, so you can add them to taste later, and that way you'll make sure that you got exactly what you're. You don't want to go through all that trouble to cook something and not be able to eat it because it's too spicy. So I'm just gonna let those.
Would you say it's a delicate tasting soup? Somebody's asking.
I think it is if it's done correctly, yes, because all you've got is that, you got chicken stock with these really nice aromatic ingredients, and you get like a lemony flavor from the lemongrass, and you get a nice garlic flavor, but it's a boiled garlic. It's not a fried garlic or a raw garlic, so you just get a hint of garlic. And the galangal just has this really nice piney flavor that just adds to it.
Thank you,
So-
Steve. Steve just ordered the Thai book.
Oh,
so.
thank you very much. So it is. I like it because it does. I like it for its hit. I like the heat in it, the spiciness. So for me, that's what I really like about it. But if you don't like I said, if you don't like really spicy soups, leave some of that heat out, and you'll be happier with it. So if we go back over here to this pan. As you can see, it's nice bubbling away there. And I'm going to go ahead and add some mushrooms. And that, like I said, that's just me. That's what I wanted to add to it tonight. You don't have to add mushrooms. You can just add whatever vegetables you want. Carrots, asparagus, whatever. The mushrooms take a little bit longer to cook than the other vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and just stir those into this now. And then I'm going to add some of this. It's a combination of chili jam and chili oil. And when you make them yourself, you'll find that there's a lot of goop at the bottom of it, and that goop tastes amazing. So you're not just taking the oil itself, you're adding some of that garlic and shallots and just stuff that cooks slowly in that oil to this. And it's going to help color it. I'm only using about 2 tablespoons here, maybe a little bit more. May as well use it all. Which is going to give it a nice, deeper red color. See there how it's kind of changing color there? And that is going to give it a nice, it's a nice hit. It's a nice hit of heat. It doesn't linger. Yeah, so you taste it, you get a nice bite to it, and then it goes away. I'm going to add some of these tomatoes as well. Just nice big chunks. They do cook down. Stir as well.
Steve's asking what meat are you going to use for the massaman curry?
I'm going to use beef.
Oh, we're using beef.
Yeah,
Right.
beef massaman. That's one of my favorite curries. It's very massaman curries, unlike the others. There's a Thai yellow curry, and there's also the massaman curry, and those are very Indian inspired. So it's a lot more like Indian food. Those curries. You have the roasted spices and all that, which you don't really get in as much in other curries and soups. So there we are. We're going to let that just kind of sit there and simmer for a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and try it now. See how it's tasting already. Now that's tasting really good. But there's so much more we're gonna add to this. So now I'm going to add some spring onions. And in the book, I just say like about 225 grams, like a half pound of vegetables. But you could add more, you can add less. It doesn't really, it's up to you. Just gives it some nice color. We got some corn in there, some of the baby corn. I don't think I'll add all this because it'll just fill up the bowl, fill up the pan. See how that looks. And then to this, I'm going to add the saltiness. So this is going to have some nice saltiness with some fish sauce. And that's about 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. And I recommend when you're using fish sauce that you use the bottle and you just squirt it in there. I wanted to use my exact recipe just so you can see what the recipe is. But there's a good chance I'll be wanting to add a little bit more fish sauce. Another spoon here. Oh, that's tasting so good now. I think it needs a little bit more of a sour flavor. So I'm going to add some lime to this. Saltiness, I think it's quite nice. Fish sauce, by the way, is not everyone's cup of tea. I love it. I love the stuff. But you might want to try it and make sure you're happy with it. I guess you could just add some salt, but fish sauce is kind of one of the things that makes Thai food.
Yeah, I actually got a question the other day. I'm not sure whether I responded yet. I can't remember what forum it was on. I think someone's allergic to shellfish, so you just leave out the fish sauce then.
Yeah, well, I don't believe fish sauce is made. Oyster sauce is made with oysters, but fish sauce is made with, I believe, anchovy.
Yeah,
fermented anchovy. You're probably okay there.
We wouldn't like to say definite.
I'm not going to say definite, no way. All right, now I'm going to add, just to finish it off, I'm going to add some nice coriander in there. There, that is a soup that is, I think, really, I'm cooking for Caroline and also my daughter tonight, and neither of them like it really, really spicy, so I think this is going to be perfect for them. I might end up adding a few more chilies or something like that to it. But I'm going to go ahead and take some of this out.
Looks good. It looks very healthy.
It is healthy. It's very good for you. Yeah, lots of nice broth.
Not even any coconut milk in this one, which
No,
does have a lot of calories if you go for the full fat one.
Yeah, look at that. That's just, isn't that colorful? It's just, it's really, go back over the other, I'm just going to try that now. Oh, Caroline, you got to try that.
I'll try it later.
It's so nice.
I know I'll choke on a chili.
Okay, so I used 2 pans today just to speed this process up. You obviously would only need to use 1 pan, and you can make this in 15 minutes. If you're going to be making it ahead of time, I would recommend not adding the vegetables until the very, very end, because they'll get mushy, and they're so nice when they're just a bit crisp, and they're not too mushy and everything. And these are perfect right now. So that's the way I like it, and you can even add some raw vegetables too. I'll do that now, just a little bit of like bean sprouts or something like that. But taste it when you're cooking it. This is a really nice starter course, and like I said, with all Thai food, you can adjust the flavors to your own taste.
Yeah, Kev said he'd add noodles to it. You could add a few noodles, couldn't you?
It wouldn't be a Tom Yum Gai then, but there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't. Tom Yum Gai with noodles. Yeah, go ahead, go for it. Add noodles. Again, that's just one of the great things about cooking for yourself. You can, if it sounds good, do it.
And John's asking, will you be doing a video at some point of Tom Gai? That's the
That's going to be next week.
That's next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday we're going to be making green homemade green paste, homemade green chicken curry, and then on Wednesday we're going to be making Tom Gai. And that's the one, very similar to this, but it has coconut milk in it, and it's very good too. So those are the 2 most popular soups, Tom Yum Gai and Tom Gai. I've got another soup in there, a wonton soup as well, which is quite nice. But those 2 are the 2 that you want to be able to make because they're famous.
And you could use prawns instead of chicken, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, that would be, so this is, like I said earlier, this is a Tom Yum Gai. If you're using prawns, it'd be a Tom Yum Goong.
Oh, right, you did say that.
Yeah, Goong is prawn. Yeah, remember we were in
yes.
Thailand.
It's coming back to me.
Yeah, that was a good time though. But so yeah, that's it. And hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, I got 2 more recipes coming for you next week, and I'm going to be doing this right up till the book comes out. So these live videos are going to give you a chance to try some of this stuff before you get the book. I'm quite sure you're going to be happy with the recipes, or you'll be able to make them like you want them just by the instructions that are in the books. So if you want to give some of these a try before you get the book, that would be great, because I worked hard on it. You know, I'm going to be very honest with you there. I just wanted to make sure everything was perfect, and so it was a lot of going back and forth and making sure everything was exactly as I remembered it growing up, and also how I saw it in Thailand, which you'll be surprised. The food in Thailand a lot of times is they've done a very good job of exporting their cuisine to the West, and so a lot of times when you go out to a really nice Thai restaurant, you're going to taste something that's just as good as you get in Thailand, because they have this program where they send chefs, they train chefs in Thailand to learn, how to make Thai food exactly as they feel it should be made in Thailand, and then to come out to the West and do the same thing, so not cut any corners.
Because you mentioned Mexican, a couple of people are asking, are you going to be doing a Mexican cookbook?
If my publisher ever lets me do that, I
hope
would
they're
do that in a second. Yes, I would do that in a second. I would love to write a Mexican book. I do have some Mexican recipes on my website, but I don't really promote them all that much yet. But yes, of course, yes, someday maybe I'll be doing that. That would be great.
Okay.
So, any more questions?
No, that's it.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Give this a try, and I hope you like it. And I hope to see you next week for green chicken curry and Tom Yum Gai. And
it's Tuesday and Wednesday again,
yeah,
isn't it?
Tuesday and Wednesday, 5:20 GMT. And hope to see you then. Thank you very much.